of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, sometimes pain and suffering are means by which the soul is awakened and pushed forward to the divine. With always our love and blessings, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 4, The Book of Birth and Quest, Canto 4, The Quest, page 428. The world ways opened before Savitri. At first, a strangeness of new brilliant scenes peopled her mind and kept her body's gaze. But as she moved across the changing earth, a deeper consciousness welled up in her. A citizen of many scenes and climes, each soil and country it has made its home. It took all clans and peoples for her own, till the whole destiny of mankind was hers. These unfamiliar spaces on her way were known and neighbors to a sense within. Landscapes record like lost, forgotten fields, cities and rivers and plains her vision claimed like slow recurring memories in front. The stars at night were her past's brilliant friends. The winds murmured to her of ancient things. And she met nameless comrades loved by her once. All was a part of old forgotten selves. Vaguely or with a flash of sudden hints, her acts recalled a line of bygone power. Even her motion's purpose was not new. Traveler true, traveler to a prefigured high event, she seemed to her remembering witness soul to trace again a journey often made. A guidance turned the dumb revolving wheels, and in the eager body of their speed, the dim mass-hooded godheads rode who move, assigned to man immutably from his birth, receivers of the inner and outer law, at once the agents of his spirit's will and witnesses and executors of his fate. Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of Our Divine Mother, Question and Answers of 1954, date 17th February 1954, page 29. Sweet Mother, you say, never take physical happenings at their face value. They are always a clumsy attempt to express something else, the true thing which escapes our superficial understanding. But, sweet mother, it is said one must not be pessimistic, and here you have said they are always a clumsy attempt. For this, our Divine Mother says this means that the material world as it is very awkward at expressing the truth which is behind. That is obvious. I believe we do not need to reflect very deeper to perceive that, unless there are people, yes, in the four austerities. I speak of those who are perfectly adjusted in life and find everything wonderful. But I haven't yet met many of these who can believe it all their life through. I am speaking of optimists. One is optimistic so long as one is healthy and very young. And then, as soon as one begins to be less strong and less healthy, optimism vanishes. But still, if one has a little sense and sensibility, but still, if one has a little sense and sensibility, it is easy to see that everything is not for the best in the best possible world. For if you yourself are comfortable and have all you need, if you are getting on well and have no cares, that does not mean that there are not millions of beings in altogether painful and sad situations. Then it may be very easy to think only of oneself, but it is not something very advisable. 24th Feb 1954. This talk is based upon our mother's essays on psychic education and spiritual education. And question, sweet mother, how can depression be controlled? For this, our Divine Mother says, oh, that's very simple. Depression occurs generally in the vital. Depression occurs generally in the vital, and one is overpowered by depression only when one keeps the consciousness in the vital, when one remains there in the vital. The only thing to do is to get out of the vital and enter a deeper consciousness. Even the higher mind, the luminous, the higher mind, the most lofty thoughts have the power to drive away depression. Our Divine Mother says, even when one reaches just the highest domain of thought, usually the depression disappears. But in any case, if one seeks shelter in the psychic, then there is no longer any room for depression. Our Divine Mother says depression may come from two causes, either from a want of vital satisfaction or from a considerable nervous fatigue in the body. Depression arising from physical fatigue is set right fairly easily. One has but to take rest. One goes to bed and sleeps until one feels well again, or else one rests, dreams, lies down. The want of vital satisfaction is pretty easily produced, and usually one must face it with one's reason, must ferret out the cause of the depression, what has brought about the lack of satisfaction in the vital. Then one looks at it straight in the face and asks oneself whether that indeed has anything to do with one's inner aspiration, or whether it is simply quite an ordinary moment. Our Divine Mother says, generally one discovers that it has nothing to do with the inner aspiration, and one can quite easily overcome it and resume one's normal movement. If that does not suffice, Then one must go deeper and deeper until one touches the psychic reality. Then one has only to put this psychic reality in contact with the moment of depression, and instantaneously it will vanish into thin air. As for fighting in the vital domain itself, well, some people are good fighters and love to struggle with their vital, but to tell you the truth, that is much more difficult. Question, sweet mother. Once the psychic has come to the front, can it withdraw again? For this, our Divine Mother says yes. Generally, one has a series of experiences of identification, very intense at first, which later gradually diminish, and then one day you find that they have disappeared. Still, you must not be disturbed, for it is quite common phenomenon. But next time, the second time, the contact is more easily obtained. Then comes a moment, says our Divine Mother, which is not very far off, when, as soon as one concentrates and aspires, one gets a contact. Let me repeat. Our Divine Mother says, and then comes a moment which is not very far off, when, as soon as one concentrates and aspires, one gets a contact. One may not have the power of keeping it all the time, but can get it at will. Then, from that moment, things becomes very easy. When one feels a difficulty or there is a problem to be solved, when one wants to make progress, or there is just a depression to conquer, or an obstacle to be overcome, or else simply the joy of identification, for it is an experience that gives a very concrete joy. At the moment of identification, one truly feels a very, very great joy. Then, at any moment, whatever, one may pause, concentrate for a while, and aspire. And quite naturally, the contact is established, and all problems which were to be solved are solved. Simply to concentrate, to sit down and concentrate, to aspire in this way, and the contact is made, so to say, instantaneously. Our Divine Mother says, there comes a time, as I said, when this does not leave you, that is, it is in the depths of the consciousness and supports all that you do, and you never lose the contact. Then many things disappear. For instance, depression is one of these things. Discontentment, revolt, fatigue, depression, all these difficulties. And if one makes it a habit to step back, as we say, in one's consciousness, and see on the screen of one's psychic consciousness, see all the circumstances, all the events, all the ideas, all the knowledge, everything. At that moment, one sees that and has an altogether sure guide for everything that one may do. But this perforce takes a very long time to come, says our Divine Mother. Sweet Mother, on what does receptivity depend? For this, our Divine Mother says it depends first of all upon sincerity, on whether one really wants to receive, and then, yes, I believe the principal factors are sincerity and humility. There is nothing that closes you up more than vanity. When you are self satisfied, you have that kind of vanity of not wanting to admit that you lack something, you made mistakes, that you are incomplete, that you are imperfect, that you are. There is something in the nature, which grows stiff in this way, which does not want to admit. It is this which prevents you from receiving. You have, however, only to try it out and get the experience. If by an effort of will you will manage to make even a very tiny part of the being admit that, well, yes, I made a mistake. Yes, I am mistaken. I should not be like that, and I should not do that, and I should not feel like that. Yes, it is a fault. If you manage to make it admit this at first, as I just said, it begins by hurting you very much, but when you hold on firmly until this is admitted, immediately it is open, and strangely, a flood of light enters, and then you feel so glad afterwards. You are happy that you ask yourself, why, from what foolishness did I resist so long, says our Divine Mother. Question, sweet mother, what is the right attitude to stick on to this path till the supramental truth is realized? For this, our Divine Mother says, there is the psychic condition and sincerity and devotion to the Divine Mother. Sweet Mother, what is psychic condition? For this, our Divine Mother says, that means being in relation with one's psychic. I suppose being governed by one's psychic. Sweet Mother, I don't understand very clearly the difference between faith, belief, and confidence. But our Divine Mother says, but Sri Aurobindo has given the full explanation. If you do not understand, then for that the child says, he has written, faith is a feeling in the whole being. For this, our Divine Mother says, the whole being, yes. Faith, that's the whole being at once. He says that belief is something that occurs in the head. That is purely mental. And confidence is quite different. Confidence, one can have confidence in life, trust in the divine, trust in others, trust in one's own destiny. That is, one has the feeling that everything is going to help him to do what he wants to do. Faith is a certitude without any proof. Question, sweet mother, on what does faith depend? For this, our Divine Mother says, probably on divine grace. Some people have it spontaneously, there are others who need to make an effort to have it. For this, the child says, how can faith be increased? Through aspiration, says our Divine Mother. Some have it spontaneously. You see, it is difficult to pray if one does not have faith. But if one can make a prayer a means of increasing one's faith or aspiring, having an aspiration is to have faith. Most of these qualities require an effort. If one does not have a thing and wants to have it, well, it needs great sustained effort, a constant aspiration, an unflagging will, a sincerity at each moment, then one is sure it will come one day. It can come in a second. There are people who have it. They have contrary moments which come and attack. These people, if their will is sincere, can shield their faith, repel the attacks. There are others who cultivate doubt because it is a kind of dilettantrism. That is, there's nothing more dangerous than that. It is as though one were letting the worm into the fruit. It eventually eats it up completely. This means that when a moment of this sort comes, it usually comes first into the mind. The first thing to do is very quickly pluck it and refuse it. Surely one must not enjoy looking on just to see what's going to happen. That kind of curiosity is terribly dangerous. It is perhaps more difficult for intellectuals to have faith than for those who have a simple, sincere, upright heart, no intellectual complications. But I think that if an intellectual person has faith, then that becomes very powerful thing which can truly work miracles, says our Divine Mother. Prayers and Meditations, July 1st, 1914. We hail thee, O Lord, with adoration and with joy, and give ourselves to thee in a gift constantly renewed, so that Thy will may be accomplished upon earth and in all the places of this universe. When we turn towards thee, the thought is mute, but the heart excels. For thou shinest resplendent in all things, and the least grain of sand may be an occasion for worship. We bow down before thee. We unite with thee, O Lord, in a love that is limitless and full of an inexpressible beatitude. O grant this sovereign joy to all.
The world is preparing for a big change. Will you help? आश्वैत्रेयस्य जन्तवो द्युमदवर्धन्तकृष्टयः निष्कग्रीवो बृहद्दुःखा येनां मध्वा